Merhaba arkadaşlar, hepiniz IEFT Talks webinarlarına hoş geldiniz. Bugün İngiltere'nin en popüler liselerinden Mpw Schools ve Colleges ile İngiltere'de lise eğitimini Felicity ve Güler Hanım'dan dinliyor olacağız. Lütfen sorularınızı questions kısmından sormayı unutmayın. Evet Güler Hanım, sahne sizin.
Merhaba, benim adım Güler Taylan Akar. 20 senenin üzerindedir eğitim danışmanlığı yapmaktayım. Bugün çok güzel bir program ve çok güzel bir okulumuzu ağırlıyoruz. Ben okul temsilcimiz Felicity konuşmaya başlamadan önce bu webineri biraz daha rahat anlayabilmeniz için kısaca İngiliz eğitim sistemini anlatmak istiyorum. İngiliz eğitim sistemi bizim eğitim sistemimizden, hatta dünyanın geri kalan birçok ülkesinden biraz daha farklıdır. Eğitim olarak bize göre bir sene daha erken başlar çocuklar ve bir sene erken başladığı için, örnek veriyorum, burada 9. sınıfta okuyan bir çocuk aslında İngiltere'de 10. sınıfta okur. Ayrıca İngiltere'de eğitim 11. senede biter. 11. senede bittiği zaman, yani GCSE sınavları dedikleri son senede sınav alırlar ve o sınavdan sonra çocuklar mezun sayılır. 11. seneden sonra, lise bittikten sonra İngiliz öğrencilerin ve uluslararası öğrencilerin karşısına iki rota çıkar. Bir tanesi, eğer mesleki olarak devam etmeyi düşünüyorlarsa bir tek dediğimiz vocational demiş olduğumuz rotaya girmeleri. Eğer akademik olarak devam etmeyi düşünüyorlarsa o zaman bizim İngiliz müfredatı dediğimiz A-Level alması gerekiyor. Ve 2 yıl A-Level'dan sonra daha çok 3 yıl olan üniversiteye devam edecek bir rotaya girmiş oluyorlar. Mpw'dan Felicity tabii ki size sunumu çok güzel bir şekilde yapacak. Arkasından ben de çok hızlı özetleyebilirim ama kendisi daha çok A-Level'dan, GCSE'den bahsedecek. Zaten sunumun sonunda da soru ve cevap kısmında tekrar konuşuruz detaylı. Felicity, I made a very quick summary of British education system. It will make it easy to understand better your presentation. Please
Thank
go.
you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Felicity. I'm the Regional Manager at Mpw Schools and Colleges. So yes, I'm really pleased to be here today and to be able to give you an overview about us, a little bit about the UK education system, and then we'll have some time at the end for some questions as well. So I'm just going to start my presentation now. Okay, so welcome to Mpw. Mpw stands for Mander Portman Woodward, and these are three men who started the whole thing. And they started Mander Portman and Woodward back in 1973, so we've been going around for quite a few years now. We have 3 colleges located in 3 prime key locations in London, Birmingham and Cambridge. Most of our students in the UK, particularly, well, they stem mainly from UK British systems, so they may already be studying in the UK, they might be British citizens, and that makes up about 70% of our student numbers, and then you have 30% international students, so anybody who's outside of the UK. We guarantee very small class sizes, and that's not just for your benefit, but it's also for the teachers' benefit, because it means that they can really give you much more attention, and sometimes you'll find you'll get one-to-one attention much more than you would in a large class setting. So 9 students, absolute maximum there. We are one of the best schools in the UK, and we have lots of reports and UK government inspection reports to prove how high our teaching is, and in terms of the quality of the teaching. So we are very recognised as being one of the top schools in the UK. We have over 40 A-level subjects, and I'm going to go into the A-levels in a little bit more detail for you, and also some of the other courses we offer at Mpw. So the first location is Mpw London. This is actually our flagship school, so this is where it all started. It is also the largest of the 3 of our schools, so there's up to 620 students there. It's a prime location, it's based in South Kensington, and for those who are familiar with London, you'll know that South Kensington is one of the most affluent areas in southwest London, with key location being next door to most of the museums. So you've got the Science Museum, Natural History Museum, then you've also got Imperial College London just up the road. You've also got Kensington Gardens. You have some amazing facilities that are just on your doorstep. So when you're not in class, you can just literally walk down the road and hang out at the Natural History Museum if you wanted to. We have the University of London Foundation, A-levels, GCSEs, Easter Revision, and our Mpw University Foundation as well. That's what we offer there. This is some of the images of Mpw London. As you can see, it's not what you would expect from a normal sort of traditional school. They are grade 2 listed buildings, which means they're protected, so we can't adapt them in any way. So they're very traditional looking in terms of a London townhouse, and that's literally what they are. They are converted houses into a school. So really beautiful, and it's really such a nice atmosphere for all students. It feels like going into somebody's house, so it's very relaxed, and everybody's very happy there. Mpw Birmingham. So this is another key city location. Mpw Birmingham is not that far away from London, so you can get to London and also to Birmingham in about an hour and a half by train. So, it's a very good location to consider if you don't want to be right in the heart of London. It's one of the most up and coming cities as well. So there's lots of small businesses that are just about to start. There's a lot of entrepreneurial programs that are available, and it's also a good link to other locations in the UK as well. So much smaller than London. There's only 250 students there, but we do offer the range of courses available as well. So it's the same sort of thing. You're going to get the small class sizes. You will have access to both the GCSE and A-levels and some of the foundation programs as well, which I'll give a bit more detail on. So this is Birmingham. This is outside of the school, slightly different to London. It's in one of the nice parts of Birmingham, so it's just a little bit outside of the city centre. It's a place called Edgbaston, very well known for its cricket ground and other sort of sporting arenas as well. Again, you'll see that it's got that sort of house look to it. Again, it is a converted house. This is the most like a boarding school environment that you would be perhaps more familiar with, and that's because the accommodation is attached to the actual teaching building. So you can literally roll out of bed and then roll into the classroom. So it's quite nice in that respect. Mpw Cambridge. Now, Mpw Cambridge is very well known, mainly for the university, but also because the city itself is absolutely beautiful. It's incredibly safe. Again, it's got some great links to London. You can get to London on the fast train to King's Cross in about 40 minutes. You can also access other parts of the UK from there as well. It's really a lovely location to be as a student. We encourage lots of our students who are studying at Mpw Cambridge to visit the university, and we will also facilitate and organise the access to any open lectures that might be available, because the three guys that started Mpw, Manda, Portman and Woodward, they were Cambridge graduates at University of Cambridge, so they have provided us with some great links with the university. So, we're very privileged to have that link. So again, 220 students, same size as Birmingham roughly. And again, we offer GCSEs, A-levels and some foundation programs as well. This is not Mpw, this is University of Cambridge, and this is, I think it's Jesus College, which is one of the colleges there. Absolutely beautiful. This is the River Cam. You can go down there in the summer when it's warm enough, and you can be pushed along the river by a University of Cambridge student who's trying to make a bit more extra money out of their spare time. But it's really lovely city. It's absolutely beautiful. I would very much encourage a visit if you can at some point. This is the school. So again, it's got that kind of theme of the kind of house theme, as it were. It's a very friendly environment. You'll notice that our students there, there's no school uniform as well, so it's quite relaxed. We do have a first name basis policy, which means that obviously, you know, your teachers are not known as Sir or Mr, they're known as John or James, as well as the principals as well. We would rather that you speak to the principals on first name basis rather than any too much formalities. So it's got that very relaxed university style of environment there. But this is actually slightly out of date now because this is from 2019. I will be showing you a video at the end of this presentation which highlights more recent student results and destinations for 2020. But every year they are incredibly impressive in terms of the progression rates. So Russell Group universities are the top tier of universities in the UK. Very difficult to get into, and they have very high entry requirements. More often than not, they're going to ask for at least A's, A stars minimum. So we are one of those schools and colleges that offer realistic progression options. We take your weaknesses, the areas that you find most to struggle with, and then we will work with you on a one-to-one basis and really, really support you in order to go from, say, an average C student up to an A star student by the time that you leave. We also support you with your university application, and that happens via the personal tutor and the director of studies route, which I'll go into in a little bit more detail. But here's just some of the examples of what subjects are chosen, universities, and also the grades that they're getting. So you can see Tiffany from China, pretty much a genius there with 3 A stars, going on to veterinary medicine. And then, so I'm going to give a little bit of detail about GCSEs. Now, GCSEs are before A levels. We only offer the last 2 years of the GCSEs, so that's years 10 and 11. And more often than not, those students joining us are either halfway through their existing UK curriculum, or perhaps they're relocating to the UK, or it may be that those students have studied the UK curriculum in their own country. So GCSEs are, you have to do certain subjects. They are sort of the precursor towards the A levels. And here you'll see there are lots of subjects to choose from, but don't worry, you don't have to do all of these subjects. There's over 40 here. You would only choose anywhere between 6 to 8 subjects. If you want to be a doctor, or if you want to be a lawyer, then it makes sense to be starting to learn about the subjects that you would need to study at a later date. So for example, if you know that you're wanting to go down the medicine route, probably a good idea to have some sciences under your belt. You might want to have a language there, and then perhaps you might want to look at geography or maths, and some of those will be subjects that you have to do, and some of those will be selected by you, which we advise you on. So the reason why I'm showing you a typical timetable for the GCSE is to give you an understanding of the difference between GCSE and A level. GCSE is very structured. Like I said, you know, you would be slightly younger if you were joining us for the GCSE year, probably pre-16 years old, maybe 14 or 15. And your structure of your class would be very typical to most UK or most curriculums overseas, actually. So most international curriculums as well. You're going to be in the classroom between a specific period of time, Monday to Friday, and your timetable is very full. Now, A levels. So this is when you've finished the GCSEs, or if you're coming to join us at 16 and above. So most students in our schools are A level standard or A level level. So that's 16 or 17. And here you see, again, there's about 40, I think it's 45 in total here in terms of the subject choices. The exam boards you can see on the right hand side are quite important, because if you've been studying A levels in Turkey, for example, in your school, you may have been following a specific exam board. It might be something like the CIE, for example. So if you're wanting to then relocate to the UK, continue on with studying your A levels, it's always good to make us aware of that exam board if you know it. And then we can see what the differences are, because each one will have slightly different topics that are taught in the subjects. But again, you can see there's a huge amount of subject variety. You only choose up to a complete maximum of 4 A-level subjects over the course of 2 years. If you're an absolute genius, you can do up to 5, but it's never needed. I think most universities, even Oxford, Cambridge, LSE, Imperial, they don't need you to do any more than 3 A-level subjects. It's always good to discuss with us at MPW. I would probably be the person you talk to about deciding on which subject choices to go for. You may have a bit of an understanding of what you want to do, but you might have no idea whatsoever. So therefore, talking with me to figure that out, figure out the subject combination is always the best way to go. Here you'll see the difference between the GCSE timetable and the A-level timetable. You can see the A-level timetable is pretty empty. So lucky you, whoever has this timetable on a Monday morning, they can have a lie-in all the way until 11 a.m. On Monday morning, and even on Friday morning, which is a nice timetable to have. But we don't expect you to be doing nothing during those times in between. So you are expected to obviously be in lessons when you're expected to be in lessons for the taught hours. So that will be with your other students, other peers, and your tutors. But then the gaps, the study times in between, is totally up to you what you do. But obviously, this is when you do your independent study. This is when you would work on perhaps your portfolio if you're planning on doing arts-based subjects. You may be attending local lectures at local universities, or you might be working on your study skills. So perhaps you are preparing for an exam, but you want to know how to formulate or structure an essay better. You might have practical elements as well to some of your subjects, so in biology, chemistry, for example. So it's really important to note that even though it's very sparse, it's actually probably more busy than the GCSE, because this is up to you. This is your time. So time management is very, very important, and a mature outlook to studying, which is what you'll need at university. You know, this is what you need at university, is to be mature enough to manage your own time effectively. So our student nationality mix at MPW is quite diverse. We have students from all over the world. I would say there's no one dominating nationality. It's always different every year as well. So sometimes we have lots of students from China, sometimes we don't. My remit is Europe and Turkey. So sometimes I have a lot of students from Italy, like this year, for example. And, you know, but they could randomly come from other places. So it's all just, you know, a nice mix of students, and there's lots of different variety and cultures there. But London as well in itself is one of the most multicultural, diverse places and cities in the world. So, you know, it's pretty diverse. Now, the personal tutor system that I was talking to you about before, now this is your own dedicated person, so another parent, if you like, or actually more like an older brother or sister, or an auntie or someone like that, someone who is caring about you but wants the best for you, and they are really your extra person outside of the classroom. So you may not get on with your tutor, or perhaps you're really struggling in a certain topic. Maybe maths is becoming a bit of a headache for you, or you know, you're really not enjoying your Spanish lesson, for example, and you just don't get it. So you can speak with your personal tutor in absolute confidence, because they are not a teacher, they are outside of the classroom, so you can talk about anything academic with them. They also support you with your application to university. So if you're studying medicine, just as an example, you may have to do some extra entrance requirements or tests. They will support you with that. They'll help you with personal statement writing, with CV writing, with gaining work experience if you need it, and then ultimately they're at the application to university itself. They are also there to support you on a personal pastoral level as well, like I said. So if you're struggling, you know, personally, if you're not liking where you live, if you don't like the food, you don't like the city, then you can talk to them about it, and they'll try and figure out how to help you and how to make you happy, because a happy student means a very successful student in our eyes. So A-levels, I have gone over A-levels with you a little bit, but like I said, A-levels are still the most recognised qualification when it comes to applying to a very top-tier university in the UK. Oxford and Cambridge, unfortunately, they still really only recognise the A-levels as the gold standard of qualifications, but that's not the be all and end all anymore. There's obviously the IBs, the International Baccalaureate. Overseas curriculums as well are just as good as A-levels, but they just have a traditional approach to understanding the sort of qualifications. So yeah, pass grades for A-levels are generally A star, A, B, C, D, and actually E. And when you're looking at UCAS points, which is something that will come up when you apply to university, you calculate the amount of points associated with that grade. So E is still a qualification. It's still quite a good qualification to get. That's how how A-levels work essentially. And A-levels can be studied over 2 years or 1 year. If you've had experience in A-levels, if, like I said, you've studied it in your own country or you've just done some own personal research into the A-levels, then you can be considered for the 1 year A-level. When it comes to exams, it's a little bit different now because of COVID. There's the internal assessments made by the schools themselves at the moment. So there won't be any external exams being taken, but they probably will come back next year. But if you're starting this September and you're doing a 2-year A-level, it's more than likely you'll be going back to the normal external exam boards in 2 years' time. But this year, for the current cohort, they're all going to be internally assessed. But it's nothing to worry about. It doesn't change anything in terms of your grades. I just wanted to give a very brief overview of other subjects and just to really showcase to you the talent of some of the students we have at Mpw. Like I said, it's all about the progression and the nurturing behind, really supporting those students reaching their full potential. And we found that we've had a lot of very successful artists come to Mpw, particularly in London. We are very much specializing in certain areas such as medicine, law, veterinary science, but we're also very, very good with the art and design, architecture, interior design, photography, and 3D communications and marketing communications and those types of artistic subjects as well. So I just wanted to show you a few nice images of some of the students. So here, obviously, part of the architectural application route is very difficult. You do have to create more of a 3D structure to include with your portfolio work. So that's what's done here. Some amazing drawings. Photography, we're one of the very few schools in London actually that has a darkroom. So you'll learn what photography is right from the beginning, how to develop film, why it is the way it is, how it's progressed over the years, how it's gone from developing film all the way up to obviously editing and developing and digital printing and Photoshop, etc. So it's a journey of discovery, and it's also a way of really bringing you out of your artistic shell so that you can really find yourself in that amazing subject. So this is some 3D design combined with photography. And some fine art there as well. And this is ceramics. We also have a ceramics room as well, which is amazing. And in terms of putting forward students for any external competitions, whether they're national or international, we would always encourage students to take part in those competitions. There's also other competitions or awarded programs that you can do, like Model United Nations, that's one of them. And there's lots of debating clubs and societies that we encourage students to take part in too. So even if you hadn't chosen the artistic subject, just as an example, you were actually choosing, say, biology, chemistry and maths as your A-level subjects, but you were actually a very good artist outside of the classroom and it was a hobby, then we would still encourage you to do that. We would still encourage you to take part in these exams, these exhibitions, just so that you can really fulfill your full potential. This is highlighting the art, but actually in all 3 schools, like I said, in Cambridge in particular, we do make sure that we have lectures, external lectures come in from local university. In London, we have Imperial College about a minute's walk away. So the lecturers will actually come in and talk to our students, give guidance on some of their degrees as well, and the application process, etc. But yeah, we also have a lot of exhibitions and things happening within the school itself, just to really promote and help our students understand a little bit more about either their chosen topic or subject area, for example. Obviously, COVID at the moment is putting a bit of restriction on that, but we've already got quite a busy timetable coming up from September 2021, where we'll start to have some of these lectures and workshops. Another thing to say, I don't think I've put it here, but just to let you know that with all of the universities which are local to Mpw schools, whether that's in London, Cambridge or Birmingham, you automatically have access to their facilities as well. So Imperial, for example, we give you an access card so that you can use the Imperial College gym. They have an Olympic-sized swimming pool, which you can use. Same with Cambridge as well. We really want you to experience a little bit about the universities. And so, you know, we want you to go there and experience it for yourself whilst you're studying with us at Mpw. So I'm just going to show you a quick video. Bear with me. And this will just give you an overview. Like I said, the slide before was highlighting the 2019 class. This is highlighting the 2020 class, so last year's students, but it also just gives you a bit of an idea of where we specialise in as well. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening. I hope it was informative. If there's some questions that have come through, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you so much. It was really very useful information that you just tell about. We have some questions. Maybe we can just go from the questions part. And I see that it is in English. Can you see the questions?
Yes, I can. I'll start from the top, I guess. So are all students boarding students, or some of them study day schools? So, okay, if you're a student who's coming over for the first time and you're 16 years old, we would recommend that you are staying in our student residences. But if you have other say family members or anybody there that you want to live with, you don't have to stay in our student accommodation. We are known as a day school. We're an independent day school. We're not a boarding school, but we have the option for staying in our residences. These residences are all within about a 10-minute walk away from the schools in London, Cambridge and Birmingham. They all have a house parent that's on site. You have a single ensuite room, which is completely self-contained. So you have your own cooker, your own fridge freezer, obviously a bed, and you have your bathroom as well, shared facilities. So, so yeah, you have the option as a student to either stay with us as staying in our residences or as a day student. I didn't really talk about the residences at all, but there is quite a lot of information on our website, so I can certainly make sure that this is shared with you, and so you can see what it looks like on the inside as well. All three are slightly different, but they're all very, very nice. So yeah, I hope that answers that question. Okay, so for the next one, do you offer also foundation year, 1 year option? Do students have to be graduated from high school for foundation? Okay, so this is a good question. It really depends on what you want to do. So if you are perhaps looking at quite a specific route into university, but you don't really have a particular university in mind, you can choose either the foundation or the A levels. There's an option for both. We say that the foundation years that we offer are really linked to a particular university and a particular type of stream. So, for example, we offer something called the NCUK Foundation, which has pathways in humanities, science, business, and the humanities. And they link up with 16 universities in the UK. We can offer you a guaranteed progression to those universities, obviously, as long as you complete the foundation to a certain standard or a certain percentage. And then, as well as that, you can also do an A level in 1 year, but it won't include the same things. So with the foundation, it has English language embedded within it, whereas the A levels won't. You'd have to do A levels as a separate subject. So that's that. In terms of students having to be graduated, yes. So for the NCUK, yes, you do need to have graduated from high school first, but with the A levels, not necessarily. We would base that, internally with ourselves in terms of the assessments on your grades. But with the foundation, yes, you do need to have had 12 years. Is there any minimum age limit for GCSE? Which grade students has to be completed here? So, not really. I mean, most students will be anywhere between 15 and 16 years old when they're doing the GCSEs, and that again would be the last 2 years, so either year 10 or year 11. GCSEs are sort of just bridging the gap before you go into A levels. So yeah, there's no specific minimum age, but bear in mind that we are an older school, an older type of college. So most of our students are 16 plus. So we would always suggest perhaps students who are anything under 16, maybe 14 or 15, consider perhaps a boarding school. And then if you want to complete your A levels with us post 16, that might be more preferable to you. So yeah, it's kind of a bit of a strange question. So which grade students has to be completed here? Yeah, so again, like with the A levels, there's no specific entry requirements for that. It would be an internal assessment that we would make, and then do a comparison check there with your existing qualifications from your school. It's only really the foundation where you need to have completed the full 12 years and had, a certain level with the subjects. This one is in Turkish.
Yes, it's actually say that how long does the A level continue as a year, and who is actually attending this A level program? I mean, the program is suitable for who?
It's suitable for anybody really, because there's no real type of entry requirement for A levels. It's more about, because some A level subjects you don't even need to have had any prior knowledge with, only some, not all. So you need to really speak with us directly to figure that out. So it's yeah, that's what's kind of nice about them, is that you can choose any subject in any subject combination. But yeah, it's case by case. Again, if you're looking at doing a specific route, it's always good to have some clear understanding of the subjects you would need to take. And what was the other question? Is it 1 year?
The other question. No, the same Turkish question. There is no another question on this part. But you have one more question.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I see. Can we start to A level completing 10th grade in Turkey? Yes, you would probably have to do a 2-year A level in that case, because it's slightly, because we finish in year 13, whereas you finish year 12. So it's more than likely you'd probably have to do a 2-year A level with us, particularly if you haven't had any experience with A level before. And that's what I would suggest with that one. So yeah, I hope that answers all the questions.
I think you have two more actually in up. If you just go up, Felicity, there is two more questions.
Okay, all right, perfect. How do you assign roommates for resident accommodations? Oh, well, none of our rooms are shared, if that's what you mean. So you don't have a roommate.
Okay. All of them is single, I guess, yeah?
All single ensuite rooms, yeah, exactly. So no shared dorm rooms. That's the difference between a boarding school and an independent school. Our residences are more similar to a university halls of residence. So single ensuite rooms, completely self-contained. There are some shared facilities. So obviously, if you want, there are some shared kitchen facilities, and if you wanted to hang out with your friends and watch a film or something, there is that there. But most of the rooms, yeah, I mean, they're completely self-contained units, so mini flats basically for yourself. So if you wanted to be on a particular floor, then we do try and separate the boys from the girls, because we try and have single sex floors for the younger students. But obviously we do have some older students where we can mix the floors, but it's all a residence building, so it's all sort of purpose built for accommodation. But again, you'd have to kind of have a look at some of the images and some of the videos on our website so you can really kind of understand what it looks like. Do students need a legal custodian? Yes, this is a very good question. They do. Now, we don't really call them a custodian, we would call them a guardian. And any student, irrelevant of age, even if you're coming to study with us at age 20, 21 and doing a foundation year, still need to have a guardian. That guardian needs to be based in the UK. They must be over 25 years of age, and they must be speaking English fluently. They also must have legal permanent residence as well, so they can't be here on a visa. We do have students on a case-by-case basis where they want to live with perhaps a brother or a sister who's studying at a local university. We can make the exception on those cases because obviously they are a family member, but we would still need for you to require and have a guardian in place. And those guardians you can either find yourself, or we work with a company called Brightworld, and they will assign you a guardian there. It's just basically an additional safeguarding policy that the schools require. And so, yes, it is a requirement. All right.
Yeah, it's finished.
I think that's
There
it.
is no more
Okay.
questions. Yeah.
All right. Well, they're really good questions, actually. Thank you so much. I had to test my my knowledge and remember stuff. So yeah.
The guardianship the guardianship, nearly all international students, they need guardianship. That's what I understand. Is that correct?
Well, for us, yeah, I can only speak
Most
for
of them,
MPW, but most do, yeah. I would say, unless you're at a boarding school where they have a boarding school license, that's going into sort of a different route, because they have their boarding sort of accommodation is attached to the school. So they kind of have the inbuilt guardians there, whereas ours are separate. So, yeah, and also our students are a little bit different in age. So yeah, I can't speak for boarding schools. It might be slightly different for them, but certainly for a school like MPW, where the accommodation isn't attached and the students are slightly different ages, then they need a guardian. Let's just say they need a guardian. That would just be easier to say.
Yeah, yeah. There is one more question in Turkish.
Yeah.
Can I reply on behalf of you? Because this is actually something about our Turkish system, and the question is about that. It's actually asking Zeynep is asking if we graduate high school in UK, when we return to Turkey, is it going to be difficult? And is it going to be equal? So can I just say that in Turkish, reply that in Turkish?
Yes.
Yeah. Zeynep Hanım, şimdi şöyle, yurt dışında lise okuyabilirsiniz. Milli Eğitim Bakanlığı full time yurt dışında lise eğitimini kabul ediyor. Genelde de 4 yılı yurt dışında lise eğitimi olarak okuyan öğrencilerimiz ülkemize döndüğü zaman üniversiteye devam edebiliyor. Bununla ilgili bir sıkıntı yaşamıyor. Üstüne bir de üstelik şöyle bir avantajı olabiliyor. 4 yıl yurt dışında liseyi okuduktan sonra yabancı öğrenci kontenjanından dilemiş olduğu üniversiteye yabancı öğrenci olarak giriş yapabiliyor. Ama 4 yılı tamamlaması gerekiyor. Eğer ara dönemlerde dönerse de, yani örnek veriyorum 10. sınıfta başladığını varsayalım. Bir sene okuduğunu varsayalım. Bir sene sonra da döndüğünü, 11. sınıf değil, işte bize göre 12. sınıfta döndüğünü varsayalım. Aradaki görmüş olduğu dersler değil ama fark derslerini gitmiş olduğu okulda ve Milli Eğitim Bakanlığı konuşarak yani onların gözetiminde yazın fark derslerini alarak saydırtabiliyorsunuz. Bu şekilde cevaplayabildim sanırım. Thank you, Felicity.
You're welcome. Okay, good. Well, if there's no more questions, then thank you so much. It's been great, and I've really enjoyed speaking with you all today. So I do hope to see you at MPW soon, maybe in the future. But do reach out and also have a look at our website and some student testimonial videos as well. I'll be happy to help. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And for your answers, Felicity, could you also please share an email address in the chat box so the participants can directly contact? Thank you very much.
Do you want me to put I was just going to say, do you want me to put the link to the website as well, just in case?
Yes, sure. You can also share that.
I think it's a good idea.
There's a lot of information on there now. There you go. There. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, before you go, actually, I would like to take you to IEFT team as well. And Felicity, thank you for inviting me to your webinar. So hopefully we'll see each other later.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Felicity, for your great presentation, and Güler Hanım for your answers. We had a lot of questions and you covered them all. Also, I would like to thank the participants in Turkish as well. Katıldığınız için teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. Mpw Schools and Colleges ile ilgili diğer sorularınız için Felicity'nin paylaşmış olduğu mail adresinden iletişime geçebilir. Web sitesini inceleyebilirsiniz. Aynı zamanda sizi altıdaki webinarımıza da davet etmek isteriz. Thank you again. It was a pleasure to have you in IEFT Talks.